Yeah, I have a sick kid at home, so I hear you.
Man, that shit hit me like a ton of bricks.
All right, right back at y'all with another sports update. Tuesdays, 8 o'clock. You know how we do it, fellas. How's it going?
What's going on?
All right, but Adrian a little sick, but he's still gonna go ahead rock out. Go ahead rock out. Little Jordan
Man,
flu game.
like I told you guys, like Jordan, like the flu game, baby. We just push it through it, man. Just trying to make it work. Get the people what they want.
Absolutely, absolutely. Appreciate that. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump in right to it. The Tigers been making a couple moves here. Scott Harris signed AJ Hinch to a long-term deal. He didn't put out the details of the contract. Just said it was a long-term deal. They signed Kida Maeda to a 2-year, $24 million deal. So Reid, how you like these moves that the Tigers have done so far?
Yeah, I know we were just talking about a little bit before. Tigers have the prospects from the era are getting up to age so they can come into the league. I know they drafted the high schooler Jackson Jobe a few years back. He's been playing all right. Their pitching has been a little slim. Talking about now after the season, of course, we get the news that Erod would make a trade to another team. Now I don't know why he wouldn't do it earlier in the season, but now he said he's willing to go somewhere if there was a trade come about. So I love Hinch. I think Hinch is a great manager for the Tigers. He's been here through the tough time when they just the last 2-3 years he's had to go through some not so great teams, not so great rotations. So Torkelson's coming into his own. I think it's great. I hope Scotty Harris can really get this team headed in the right direction. I really love when baseball, at least the Tigers too, and baseball is good in the summertime. Turning them on the radio or maybe catching a game at a bar or something when I'm just hanging out. Baseball is a great sport to watch for that. But yeah, I think they're headed in the right direction. I'm actually really excited about them. Guys need to stay healthy. For some reason in Detroit, something in the air, a lot of injury bugs go around, but as long as they can all stay healthy, I think this team has a chance. I mean, this division is going to be like the NFC North. It's just wide open. Nobody that is in this division are White's blowing up their whole franchise. So, yeah, I mean, Cleveland got the first overall pick, but we're not going to have to worry about who they pick for the next 4 or 5 years. I like them. I like the moves.
I would agree. I would second that. I like what they're doing so far. They're making an effort finally to get this franchise out of the dumps, unlike the Detroit Pistons. But just the moves that they're doing, excuse me, guys. Just positive direction for the franchise. I would have liked to see what the extension was for Hinch was, but we'll take it. He stayed loyal to him since he left Houston. So get Maeda to be good. Just to show up this roster. Try to dive into this hot stove and get some solid guys, some vets. Make this roster deep in case any injuries happen. They can be competitive and try to win this Central Division next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like what Scott Harris has done so far. We'll see what comes in the winter meetings, but yeah, I think they're heading in the right direction. So it's going to be interesting seeing what type of team we have this year. And yeah, like Reid was saying, the division's wide open. It's not really anyone's a lock at this point. So if they can continue having a good offseason, they'll definitely be in the mix when once the season starts for sure. All right, so yeah, switching over to college football here. So the Michigan State Spartans. Jonathan Smith, the new coach, he's allegedly supposed to be getting Aiden Childs, who's a freshman quarterback on Oregon State. He's the number 2 overall player and the number 1 quarterback in the portal. So Adrian, how do you like this move for Michigan State and Jonathan Smith?
I love it because if you look at what he did to Oregon State, former player for them, he built that program back up out of the depths, got him to a couple bowl games, and he did it with little to no talent, low star 3-star guys, maybe a 4-star guy here and there. But you come to Michigan State, who's top 20 in revenue and attendance with the NIL money, because we know their spend. Matt Ishby has shown the ability to do that. Phoenix Suns owner now, help them be competitive. That's what we want in the Big Ten right now, especially with the realignment in Oregon, USC, Washington, UCLA coming into. And I think he'll do a good job. He'll hire a good coaching staff. Will be competitive in a year or two with the transfer portal. Guys will want to come play for him. Like you said, Aiden Childs started into the portal yesterday. Even Dante Moore entered the portal yesterday, a former King quarterback. Rumors he's going to Michigan, but wait and see. But I think Jonathan Smith will do a good job at Michigan State and build them back into a really good contender in this Big Ten. So.
Yeah, I really hope that he. I hope that he can pull outs here because I think it'd be strong for him. We all know that all three of the quarterbacks from MSU left. Good riddance. They weren't really worth anything. They'll probably get offers from like Bowling Green. That's where they're going to be sent to. So, if he can get Aiden here, that would be huge. Maybe he had some sort of act in recruiting him. I would assume, considering he went to Oregon State. As long as he can get good receivers around him, help him with the O line. Hopefully, like Adrian said, that NIL money can come in and get some top talent. As long as you can, if he does land Aiden, you can get some star alignment around him. I think it's good. I watched a few highlights. He came into a game week 9 or 10, something like that for Oregon State. He looked pretty good. Obviously, he's still a young kid, so him backing up J.O. Lele was probably pretty good and eye opening for him. So bring him here. I think it'd be good. Like Adrian said, bring some competition to the Big Ten. Well, what was formerly known as the Big Ten. It won't really be that much anymore. But yeah, that's true about Moore too. He goes to U of M. That would also be pretty scary. He's a top talent, and I saw that they were also the number one recruit. Quarterback out of high school was considering U of M or LSU for his choice to go. I think LSU he was leaning more towards what I last saw, but I think there's still time before he has to commit.
Yeah, I seen Matt Rule, Nebraska's coach, came out the other day and said that pretty much to get one of the top quarterbacks out of the portal is going to take pretty much $1 million to $2 million. So that's crazy that the landscape of where college football is at now. And I think that last year, this time in the portal, it was like 700 something players. Now it's like almost 1,500 this year. So it's crazy. So Reid, you think the portal is a good thing for college football?
I think it's good for the entertainment of football. I think it's going to diminish smaller programs, unfortunately. I think that the higher programs, like Adrian said, you have top 20 in revenue, and they have big backers. They can spend. It's basically an NFL free agency at this point for players. So we've seen A&M spend out the wazoo to get guys to go there when Jimbo was there. And obviously, people can pay bigger money for coaches. Kids sometimes, they'll follow coaches. Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams followed Lincoln Riley. There's talks that Dylan Gabriel might go to USC to go play with Lincoln Riley. We don't know, but yeah, I really think it's going to be a new landscape. Totally. That's crazy. Those numbers. I didn't know that it was that many.
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, that's what I'm looking at right now, guys, on 247. The updated transfer portal. Even Reid, your guy Patrick Payton, just entered the portal. The second year guy out of Florida State. Had an apology to the Seminole fans, which is crazy. So when anybody leaves or transfer, it doesn't surprise me. Like the DJU might end up going to Florida State or Mississippi State. We'll see what Dante Moore does. Aiden Childs, Will Howard from Kansas State. It's just basically Mike Elko, now the Texas A&M coach, said it's like the Wild Wild West. Like you said, Matt Rule said you got to spend some money on the quarterback, which is the case. I even was reading something yesterday where they said Ryan Day has been fielding calls to the NFL. That's why a lot of the Ohio State guys have entered the portal. But it's just you got to keep it with the times right now. Maybe they need to do some type of shorten the window or have some type of guardrails up. But it just kids are really just leaving for the money. The grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence, depending on you look at it. But in my opinion, before you even leave, I think most kids have an idea of where they're going to go, and they're just waiting to see who gives them the most money to leave. So even like a Cam Ward from Washington State, he's in the portal. He'll probably get $1 million if he goes to Ohio State or USC or Oregon or wherever it happens. But it's going to be the Wild Wild West, man, and nothing's going to surprise me. But I think in order to be a good program, you have to supplement the transfer portal along with high school recruiting and not be solely based on the transfer portal. Otherwise, your program is going to go into shambles.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at the transfer portal as almost like a win now type scenario for teams, like big name teams. They're going to pay to get guys to try and get a national championship. Now with it open to 12 teams, whatever opening up to, it's going to be even more prevalent. I think it's. I don't know if they can really do it. They might even have it now. Is there like a cap space? Like, there's got to be a limit you could spend, right?
Well, the collective. It depends on the school. The collective will tell the school will give you we'll give you $1.5 million for NIL, and then you're gonna spend that however you need to spend it. I read a thing where they said Indiana was giving the football program $3 million for NIL. So, I kind of just think it depends on how much you care about football, who's your boosters, who's your collective. It kind of just, like I said, it's the Wild Wild West. So every situation is different. It's not like the NBA or NFL where everybody's working under a salary cap or a cap space,
Well, that's what I'm wondering is if it gets too crazy, I mean, are they gonna end up, capping it at some point? Because I mean, maybe someone is crazy enough to say, here, we have so much backing money from Ishbia or whoever it is, here's $5 million in NIL, and you can go and get that top quarterback, and then, maybe two of the top receivers and a top O-lineman or something like that. But people are going to end up spending like free agency.
I think the problem is too, it's like the college football doesn't have a commissioner like the NFL or the NBA, so there's no one sole person over the whole entire body of college football. You have like commissioners for each conference, so it's like, who are we going to listen to? Who's going to make those calls? I mean, nobody's listening to Charlie Baker, the new NCAA new guy in charge. So it's like NCAA should have got in front of this years and years ago, with a bunch of old guys not being able to do anything, just being behind the times. And now look what's happened. So I'm all for players getting paid and making their money, but it's just there's no direction, there's no equal road. So like you're talking about like programs like the bottom Power 5, like a Toledo or a Miami of Ohio, or even like a Tulane who just lost their coach Willie Fritz, like a North Texas. These guys are getting poached, and they're not. As soon as these guys get any looks, they're gone. It hurts like the D2 schools, the D3 schools. So it's just this is all about money, man. At the end of the day.
Well said. Well said. Shout out Gabe in the building. Appreciate you for tuning in.
Oh, by the way, guys, Aiden Childs, according to 247, has 100% crystal ball on Michigan State.
Okay, so
crazy. I wonder what their NIL, what they're going to give him.
Probably $1 million, somewhere around there, somewhere between probably 500 and $1 million would be my guess.
Because there's no way that he was just like the head coach was just like, come on, roll over. Like he had to be like, I'll make sure that, they get you some money, I would assume. So
100%.
I mean, that's awesome. Good for State. It's good to see that they're going to have a solid quarterback in that room. I mean, he's got to go get like 2 more. So
yeah,
that's where this is the situation for him, is where I would try and go and recruit some kid out of high school somewhere. If you have Childs, because he's going to be a sophomore. He was a freshman last year, right?
Yeah.
So you have a guy that's, potentially he'll play 2 more years, like a junior, and then he'll probably be able to leave and then get, have that kid that's going to be a sophomore ready to roll. Like that's where I would feel like he should go, not go get more kids in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I just think that we're in the era now where too many kids don't want to sit a year and they want to go transfer. Sometimes you need some development and just to get ready to be ready for the college game. It's okay not to be ready right away. You look at Arch Manning right now. He said he's going to stay at Texas even if Quinn Ewers decides to stay at Texas for another year. So it's not something you typically see anymore. My problem is I don't care if a guy transfers, but if I see a guy transferring for the second or third time, that's automatically a red flag for me. You don't want to put the work in. You don't want to grind to be great. It's just, we empower the players so much. It's just like any little hiccup or it doesn't go exactly how they want, then they're just out the door. And so it's hard for coaches to field a consistent roster every year. So I give these college coaches a lot of stress. I mean, a lot of credit. If it was me, I'd rather be an NFL head coach because it's much less stress to be an NFL because you don't have to worry about the boosters, recruiting, keeping your roster together, making everybody happy. I can just imagine it's a 24/7 job, especially with the early signing period now. It's a mess, man. But there's got to be some type of stability right now in college football. But the calendar it's all messed up, man.
Yeah, that's the gift and the curse of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
All right, so the college football playoff was announced. Michigan, Washington, Bama, Texas, Florida State went undefeated, ran the table, didn't get in. I didn't agree with that at all. Florida State, in my opinion, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas should have been in. I'd put Texas in over Bama because Texas beat them head to head. So Florida State, So Reid, how did you feel about your Florida State Seminoles getting robbed and not getting in the playoff?
Yeah, it obviously sucked. I think they, in the back of my mind, I knew once Jordan Travis lost his leg that they weren't going to get into the college football playoff. I kind of just had 100. I was kind of clinging on to that 2016 OSU season when they made it with Cordell Jones. So it's like maybe the quarterback won't affect it that much. Chaos ensued. Georgia played a bad game, lost to Bama. Obviously, Bama and Texas are a little bit more of an exciting two teams because they are, household names. They don't play in, the ACC, which is a terrible conference. But yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks that it has to be the first time in the history of the college football playoff for a team to go 13-0, win their division, and then not make it in. So yeah, I mean, I'm heartbroken. If Travis is, it's a different story. I'm you. I think it should be. I think it should be Texas at 4, Florida State at 3. So. And another thing that sucked is, I mean, everybody keeps saying they only put up, 10 points, or they only beat out Louisville by 10 points. They were on a string quarterback. The defense looked unbelievable. I think they said Louisville was averaging almost 500 yards a game before they played Florida State, and they held them to under 300. So it sucks, but it's the way that it goes. That everybody this is a business. It's not actually anything that they care to have quality in there. They just want the views on TV, and these are going to get you the biggest views. Saban versus Harbaugh is huge. Sarkisian's, bringing Texas back. Washington has the Heisman Trophy winner. So I just think it's tough overall. It sucks, but I knew once Travis went down, I think the chances were pretty slim.
Yeah, I agree. Reid. For Reid being a Florida State fan, I was more appalled. I just think you gotta give guys credit for what they did. You put the hurdle in front of them. You want them to be an undefeated Power 5 champ, 2-0 against the SEC. You can't control that Florida was bad this year. Not their problem, but they went into the swamp. It wasn't pretty. Maybe if Rodemaker would have played the backup quarterback, maybe it'd be a different story. But they did everything you wanted them to do. But like Reid said, let's be real about it. At the end of the day, it comes down to politics. They can say what they want. ESPN can say what they want, which they control the college football playoff and who gets in and who doesn't. This committee, whoever votes on this, we don't know the people. They're a bunch of jokes. Most of these guys don't even watch college football all the time. They're not involved in college football 24/7, and they're making these decisions for these young men. And it's not like Florida State has a garbage team. Their roster is excellent around Tate Rodemaker and Brock Glenn. They have Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, Trey Benson, that backup running back, Reid, number 9. I can't pronounce his last name. It's kind of crazy. But even the defense. Oh,
Tua Folo or whatever his name is.
He had that big run down the right sideline. But just the roster is impressive, man. And I think they're just looking at it from a money grab standpoint. I believe they said that if ESPN would have put Florida State in, they would have lost like somewhere around $150 million. So just tell us the truth. Don't lie to us. But that's, of course, what they're going to do. It's Bama. They're not putting Alabama out. Alabama had a loss on their record, blemished. SEC was not as good this year. You can tell me what you want. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Florida State got robbed, and we all know it, man. We all know it. But I think they're most trying to look at TCU got blown out last year in the national championship game, but TCU also beat Michigan. So, anything could happen. So, but that's the way the dice goes. We kind of, like you said, Reid, we kind of knew it was going to happen. Raaj, we knew it was going to happen. They were gonna screw them over, and that's what they did.
I do say that Saturday at 11:40 p.m., I texted my buddy. I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but I said, unfortunately, I think that it'll be UM, Washington, Texas, Bama. That's too sexy.
Yeah.
They would like it too much. That was Saturday at 3 p.m. So that's kind of what I called that's what it was going to be, and unfortunately, that's what it is. So.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, I guess they're playing Georgia, though, so two teams that – honestly, you could make the argument that Georgia could have still been in it. I mean, you can't – I still believe that they're one of the 4 best teams in the country. I mean, I get it. It's the timing of your loss. You're losing the SEC championship right before the playoffs start. But honestly, I wouldn't even been mad if they would have put Georgia in over Alabama, me personally.
Yeah, I'm very curious if Florida State does beat Georgia. I'm assuming Rodemaker plays because it's going to be about 2 weeks from now, somewhere around there. So, if he does play, it'll be obviously better than Brock Glenn. But if they do beat Georgia somehow, what people are going to be saying if they would have made it in. Because a lot of people were saying, FSU was the cakewalk. Obviously, they didn't look great against certain teams, but a lot of teams didn't look good against certain teams. Bama had a Hail Mary against Auburn that they beat them by that. So it's just, I don't know. It's Michigan had a tough one against Maryland too. So it's like any given Saturday, Sunday, teams can lose. So I'm just curious to see what that is the case.
Yeah. December 30th at 4 p.m., which is a Saturday in the Orange Bowl. But we don't even know who's going to play, who's not going to play. We're going to have a lot of opt-outs anyway. So that's the thing about
a lot of city.
Right. So Adrian, how do you think how do you like the matchup with Michigan and Alabama?
I think these teams are very similar in style. If you look at it, the big key to this game, and just to early look at it before we'll dive into it later this month, but it's going to be Michigan's ability to be able to contain Jalen Milroe. This will be the best quarterback they faced all year. I believe Will Johnson will be back. This team will be ready to go, and can they get some explosive plays in the run game against Bama? I think that those are the two keys in this game. I believe they can hang with Bama. Even if Bama does beat them, I believe this will be a closer game than what most people are calling for. Last time when I checked yesterday, it was Michigan minus 1.5. But honestly, that's a pick 'em if I'm looking at it correctly. So I think the committee gave it because these are two big brands in college football. You want to see Saban versus Harbaugh. You know how many views this is going to get and how crazy people are going to go. But right now, I think Bama has the edge, but I definitely think Michigan can win this game. It's just can they execute? But the key also will be having JJ in the RPO game and being able to beat them a little bit with his arm. He's going to have to make more than one of those throws he made to the Roman Wilson. He's going to have to do some of that against this Bama defense. It's going to be tough, but it's possible.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about Michigan is they need to get the run game going. It's been a little lackluster the last couple of weeks, last 3 games. They averaged like 2 yards a carry against Iowa, which was wild to me. But I guess probably because they were kind of taking their foot off the gas because it was Iowa, and that game was always a snooze fest against that opponent.
Iowa's defense is real. They just don't got an offense.
I just don't know how you can be that bad. Like that is unacceptable to me. That literally that inept on offense where you literally can't get a first down. Like it's pathetic. Like if I'm a recruit, there is no way in hell I'm going to Iowa. I don't care if I'm on the defensive side of football. I don't care if I'm on the offensive side of football. You literally have no chance to win games. Now, how they won 10 games this year it's beyond me, man.
They play in the Big Ten West. That's how they won 10 games this year. That's what happens. But ultimately, I think Adrian was right. Milroe has a big arm and he can move. He can run. So they definitely are going to have to contain him. They have really good receivers. I can't think of that kid's name, but number 17. He's a big receiver on Bama.
Isaiah Bond, I believe his name is.
Yeah, I think that it is. So I don't know. They're gonna have to try and get Milroe out of his comfort zone, but his comfort zone seems to be scrambling at this point. Kind of like Lamar Jackson almost. I do think this is going to be the biggest challenge for Michigan. If they do win, it's going to be hats off to them. I'm going to have to, eat a lot of crow from a lot of fans that think I ultimately despise Michigan as much as I do. But I do think that Alabama is the better team, and even if Bama was 1 and Florida made it in, I'm scared of Saban in the playoffs. He just is nothing but a winner when it comes to the playoffs. So. I do like Bama a little bit more on this one than Michigan, but that's just because I think that they're coming in with a serious fighter.
Yeah, this the best team Michigan's going against all season. Best team, best quarterback. So we'll see. I wonder if that cakewalk schedule that they have is going to come back and bite them in this game because the last couple years in the playoffs, it seemed like it did that. Previous year against Georgia, last year against TCU. So not playing that tough of a level of competition and then going against a team like Bama, we'll see if they show up. I expect them to be in this game. I don't expect them to get blown out, but we'll see if them playing that weak schedule comes back to haunt them or not.
Yeah, I think real quick before we leave, I think the key is 2 years ago they were nowhere ready. They were just happy to be there. I think Georgia was a machine. That team that's the best team that they had in their run. Last year, I kind of think they took TCU lightly and tried to get too cute, especially that first drive. And then when momentum got off track, they couldn't they can never recover from the Roman Wilson fumble to the 2 JJ picks. But I think, like you said, if they don't win this year, I think this game will be a very close game. And like I said, I think Harbaugh has something to prove. I think this program has something to prove. We can get to the scandal later in the offseason, but right now they're gonna focus on the biggest goals. And that is to win the Natty for the first time since '97. And if you can slay the Giant, if anybody can be beat this thing, I think this is Nick Saban's team. I don't think this is his best team, but he always seems to have his guys ready to go. Especially you give him a month to prepare. So if Jim Harbaugh and company can do this, hats off to him, man.
Absolutely. Let's get some of the feedback here. Ish in the building. He said that's funny about Iowa. Yeah. Their offense is laughing stock. Complete joke. I couldn't believe that. Shout out Bashir in the building. Said Michigan has to get Corbin Edwards going if they want to win.
I feel like they haven't been going the last 3 weeks since Penn State. I feel like Corum and Edwards have kind of been,
quiet,
sleepwalking.
Yeah, especially against Iowa. I just kind of feel like they were just going through the motions. They did so vanilla on offense as little as possible because they knew Iowa wouldn't be able to do anything offensively.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa's defense was real though. Their defense was tough, man. If they actually had some type of offense, they definitely would have been in that game. All right, guys. It says I thought Iowa would actually be some competition. What happened to Iowa quarterback Cade McNamara?
Torn ACL.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tore his ACL. That was the Michigan State game, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
It says Michigan will get past Alabama. Michigan is solidly legitimate.
So
Adrian, if Michigan doesn't win at all this year, is the season a failure?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Can't go. I mean, three Big Ten champions is obviously impressive for what it's worth. The Big Ten is kind of it is half of the conference is nothing like Iowa. It's the Big Ten West is not any good. Nebraska's not any good. Iowa's not any good. Wisconsin has fallen from grace. So I think the Big Ten and the ACC are the two weakest conferences just because you have so many of those low tier teams in the Big Ten. And Penn State is, again, we've talked about it all the time. It's one that never wins the big game. Rarely. State hasn't been good recently. So I don't know. I think, like you said, Raj, that cupcake schedule, I hope it doesn't hurt them. I don't know if I've had this talk with my buddy before. I don't know if they're solidly legit because these last 3 games, they've looked a little shaky. Penn State shouldn't be anywhere near a college football playoff. Maryland shouldn't be anywhere near one. And they look really good against Michigan. And then Ohio State, I mean, obviously McCord isn't a great quarterback. I told you guys about the people that are going after him in the transfer portal, but their defense was good. I think the quarterback play just stopped Ohio State from really competing in that game well. So,
yeah. All right. So the Heisman finalists have been announced: Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Marvin Harrison Jr. So, Adrian, who do you got winning the Heisman right now?
Jaden Daniels. I know I've been back and forth between him and Bo Nix, but after Oregon laid an egg against Washington and decided to lose, it was Bo Nix's to win. Jaden Daniels, in my eyes, secures it. Gets another LSU quarterback to win the award. First since Joe Burrow. I'm happy though that Marvin Harrison, the receiver, finally got invited to New York. That's a good thing, man. A stud. Probably can't possibly be the number 1 pick, but probably be number 2 or 3. So it's good. I'm going with Jaden Daniels though.
Yeah, I think that, like Adrian said, I'm happy that Marvin Harrison, made it to the finals. We were talking about this for the last, since halfway through the season, maybe a little bit later, but we wanted somebody that we didn't want 4 quarterbacks going. We wanted a little bit of transparency in the whole thing. So I think that Jaden Daniels leads in almost like every stat, but like 3 or 4 different stats. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But ultimately, I do going to go back to Michael Penix, that him beating Oregon, him going to college football playoff. I think that holds a lot of weight for him now. I think Jaden Daniels obviously was on a rocket ship up, but we've seen 9 and 3 quarterbacks win it before. Obviously, Tebow, RG3 ball win it. But, I think Penix going to college football playoff and handing it to Oregon 2 times, beating Bo Nix twice. I ultimately think he will end up getting it. I do think Marvin Harrison could have won it if he would have played a little better against Michigan, and if Ohio State played Iowa in the Big Ten championship, kind of get a few more receiving yards in there, because he was pretty close to what Devonta Smith had when he won the Heisman. He was I think he's like 400 yards off or something like that.
Yeah.
But he has almost the same amount of touchdowns. He had less receptions. He had 20 receptions than Devonta Smith had at the time. But I ultimately think Penix is going to be the one that's going to get it. He was the favorite most of the season. And then the last win against Oregon, obviously, I think pushed him over the edge to winning.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. I think those two guys are the front runners, though, Penix and Daniels for sure. Daniels, I think it'd be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If Daniels and LSU was in the playoffs, I think it'd be his. But the fact that we're 9-3, that's what makes it kind of skeptical. So, yeah, I think those two guys are the front runners for sure.
I just look at it too real quick. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman Trophy with 3 losses.
Yeah, he won one as well
with 3 losses. So I mean, it's possible, but I think it'll be close between them. So I think Bo Nix and Marvin Harrison won't win it. But like Reid said, he thinks Penix. I got Daniels. I think it'll be a tight one. And I don't expect Marvin Harrison to play in the bowl game versus Missouri. That would just be stupid, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't think him or Emeka will play.
No, Mecca hasn't said anything yet, has he?
No, he hasn't said anything. But he's a first-round receiver. I don't think he wants to risk any chances like they do with maybe getting injured. Yeah, I think they're gonna both not play.
Yeah. Okay. Ish said the Chicago Bears have a chance to become real good. Yep, probably have two picks in the top 5. So yeah, absolutely. And BA says it's all set up for them to win, and definitely a failure if they don't. Talking about Michigan.
I will say about Chicago, they are set up to be good. But I was talking to my one friend who's a Michigan fan. I said, if Michigan doesn't win the national championship, Harbaugh leaves, goes and coaches Chicago. He takes JJ 1-1 and Blake Corum with 1-5.
Yeah, they were saying
a little joke.
They were saying they were trying to do that, but now I'm reading reports where Chicago, I guess, apparently is keeping tabs on Eric Bieniemy, Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. So it's there's a lot of. If I was Harbaugh and I was leaving for the NFL, which I think he is, I think he's eyeing that Los Angeles Chargers job with Justin Herbert, because that's a special talent quarterback.
I think that's where Ben Johnson's going.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Yeah, that Bears job looks good too, though. If you got 2 picks in the top 5, you could load up quick, and you already got Justin Fields there. You could debate if you want to keep him, trade him, get more picks. So I think that's a good job as well. All right, so yeah, sticking with the NFL, we see the Dolphins blow out the Commanders. Dolphins currently 9-3. So Reid, are the Dolphins the team to beat in the AFC right now? Are they the best team in the AFC?
Yeah, I think they're just the most explosive team in the AFC. Tyreek Hill is playing on another planet. I don't know if we're going to talk about this today, but I think if you have, you want to, potentially just away, I sneak it onto Tyreek Hill to win MVP. If he breaks that record and they are, make it far in the playoffs, I mean, I could see him winning an MVP. You go over 2,000 yards and, almost 20 touchdowns, definitely an MVP as a receiver. But all that being said, yeah, I think they can win the AFC. The Chiefs, I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs. The Bills obviously are on a slow down spiral. So, yeah, I don't see anybody stop offense. They just keep going and keep going. So, and they've got Jalen Ramsey back. They've only gotten better on defense.
I agree. My problem with the Miami Dolphins is anytime they go up against a formidable team, they seem to struggle. So they beat up on the good teams. It's like what we talk about with the Cowboys. They beat up on the good teams, and when they play a good team at home, when they play a good team, regardless of at road or home, they struggle. But I think the key for the Dolphins is right now they have the number 1 seed in the AFC. If they can get that number 1 seed and play at home, I think they're impossible to beat. Them going on the road and say Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, that's not a good sign for them, right? They need to unleash that speed. Anything weather affected, they won't be effective. They're a track team in essence.
Yeah. So who would you put higher in the MVP race right now? Tyreek Hill or Tua?
Tyreek Hill, absolutely.
Tyreek Hill, yeah.
He's been a difference maker in this offense. Imagine if Tyreek Hill would have never left Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, I know they should have paid him. They definitely should have paid him. I mean, I think they had something good going. They could have figured that out. I hated to see him leave, but he's flourishing, man.
They're definitely regretting it now because their receiving core is trash.
Oh, trash.
Yeah. All right, let's see.
Hey, put respect on Rashee Rice's name, okay?
Sure says you got to give it to Penix. He likes Penix for Heisman.
I just think it's got to be him.
Yeah, that makes sense especially after that Oregon win, for sure. So, yeah, we seen the Lions beat the Saints 33-28, move to 9-3, excuse me. So Reid, what's the ceilings for this Lions team? How far do you think they can take it?
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the news with Aleem McNeil going down. I wanted to ask Adrian to sign that defensive tackle from the Steelers. If he was any good, if you've watched him play, if you know he's any good, that Hawaiian guy, I don't even know what Tululu or whatever his name is. So I'm interested to see if
No, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I'm interested to see if what they're going to do now with him gone. Obviously, we know this defensive line is bad. They can't get pressure. Bruce Irvin looked good. He's 36, but he looked good. He put Derek Carr in a body bag on that one play, which I think was ridiculous to flag him for that. I get he drove him into the ground, but the guy's hasn't played in a year, and he just turned Derek Carr into mashed potatoes. So, I thought it was good. They came out super hot, and then they just died. I don't know what happened to them in that second half. I don't like seeing that. I think this defense is a real problem. Aaron Glenn needs to figure something out. Hopefully, I know it's not their type of guy. Maybe call Marcus Peters up and see if he wants a job. He's a solid vet. He's probably not a culture guy, but all you can get in the corner position. Jerry Jacobs can't be getting burned every week. You play Chicago. You can't get pressure on a quarterback. Now you have to play a mobile guy in Justin Fields. That's scary. So, I don't know. I'm a little worried. I think they'll end up winning. So, they have 5 more games left, correct? They play Chicago, and then they play the Broncos, Cowboys, Vikings. Obviously not in that order, but those are the teams.
Yeah.
I do ultimately think they beat Chicago. I think they beat Denver because Denver can't put up over more than 20 points against any team. I think they will end up losing Dallas because Dallas doesn't lose at home. And then I think they'll split with the Vikings. So what is that? 4 wins into the season? 4 wins, 2 losses or something? So 14-5?
Yeah. I
14-4?
I think they're in trouble. Honestly, I think like I talked about it. I think they can win the first home playoff game, and then after that, it's a toss up pretty much. I told you guys I thought they should have went after Derek Barnett, the Phillies, Philadelphia Eagles DN who hit waivers. Didn't even try to get him. He's still younger. He ended up going to the Texans. Look at the Texans defense right now. They're thriving right now. They're on my Steelers' heels right now. You can even try to go find a pickup, like even a guy like Akeem Hicks, a former Chicago Bear. I know he's a little older, but he can give some help. Maybe a Matt Ioannidis. There's some guys out here that you could try to make some plays for. Even look what the Eagles just did. They went and got Darius Leonard from the Colts after he got released, which was a huge pickup, which he's not going to be a slam dunk, but I think he's still going to be really good for them because their linebackers are terrible. And if he can get back to any type of form that he once had, you can even go try to sign to Melvin Ingram. He was a former Steeler, former Charger. Just guys that they don't have to play 25 snaps. Just get them in bunches because this team is just made no moves.
They don't even have Anzalone anymore either. He hurt too. So you need help at the linebacker position. It can't all be Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes.
Something. They could have got Carlos Dunlap. Just some veteran guys. You got to do something. But they're too stuck in where it's the Lions' way. These guys don't hurt our culture. But hey, you're trying to win right now. You don't have to sign the guys for a big deal. Sign them for the rest of the year, and then if it doesn't work out, then hey, low risk, high reward.
We were talking about it before this. Raj, Mo Sider just scored a goal for the Wings, so they're up 3-0. Listen, Alulu, I don't know how to say his name, but I don't think he started much for the Steelers, so I don't know if you even know who he is. But they signed him.
We could get you Brandon Fajoko. He's a big run stopper for us. He doesn't play too much. He's been up and down on the practice squad, so that can help you guys. You need a big body interior. But what we're going to be talking about in the offseason is going to be Lions draft needs to be focused solely defensively, and then getting Jared Goff's deal done. That'll be the two main factors for them.
Yeah, like Reid said, I think Marcus Peters that'll definitely be a good addition right now.
Yeah, for sure.
If Gardner Johnson will come back, that'll definitely help too. I don't. What's the timetable of his return?
Did you see what he said?
I did not.
He tweeted out or posted on Instagram story. He posted just December 20th with the lion emoji next to it. So maybe he's coming back December 20th. That's kind of. I mean, I know it's obviously a hidden, a hidden message, but it could be something. If he comes back December 20th, that's huge. I don't know what they'll end up doing. If they'll just rotate Kirby and Tracy again with him, or slowly ease him back in. But there is no timetable back on him or James Houston.
They could even go after Casey Hayward. They could even go after Casey Hayward, a former cornerback he played for, former Packer, former Charger. He played for Atlanta last year. He's 33, but he played decent last year. So I mean, you got to take a stab at some of these guys, man. Why not?
You're too injured. You're too injured to sign, a bunch of free agents. You got guys on IR. Like, you got to do something. And I get you got this culture. You want to build this culture. How do you know that you may hear all these things about these guys, but how do you know that they're not going to come in and absolutely love your culture? They might end up, turning their ways over and saying, oh my God, Chase Young, if you could have gotten him, maybe he shows up and he's like, man, I really like this D-line room. I really like these coaches. Like, I'm going to turn on. He's looked great in San Francisco. Clearly doesn't have an issue in San Francisco now. So, like, what is this culture that they have? I don't know. Play hard-nosed football, but you can't be having, like, second, third string practice squad guys on your line and in your cornerback position. It's just not going to win you games.
It's gonna catch up to him eventually. It's gonna bite him in the butt.
You can't put up 40 points you can't put up 35 points every game and expect your defense to hold them, and they put up 35 points. Like, you can't expect to win doing that.
Right, absolutely. It said, can the Lions make a deep playoff run?
No,
with this team right now, no. With this defense the way it's acting right now, no. They maybe signed some. I've been saying Melvin Ingram for a while, Melvin Ingram for a while. So I don't know. It's.
We'll see if they get desperate enough.
We'll see what it is. Yeah.
Honestly, they could be on upset alert in the first round. I know they're probably going to win the division and host a playoff game, but if they get like the Cowboys or somebody like that in the first round, that could even be tough right there.
All right.
I don't think they'll get the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys are going to drop that far.
Maybe like a Green Bay, or it'd be crazy, guys. I thought about this. I think the two ideal candidates would be possibly Green Bay, who's playing phenomenal right now, and then what about those Los Angeles Rams? Could you imagine Stafford coming back here for a wild card game?
Oh my God, I'd die.
That would be something to see.
Well, all I know is that Green Bay is going to end up. If they don't win the division, if the Lions can't hold on, they'll definitely be second. I think that Green Bay is going to be a 4 or 5 seed coming. I think it might be Green Bay, Dallas, to be honest with you, because I think the Lions ultimately, if they do win the division, that'll put Dallas at it'll be Philly, San Francisco, Lions, Dallas, Packers.
Well, Green Bay, Dallas is the 5 seed right now. Minnesota is 6, and then Green Bay 7. I think Minnesota has a tiebreaker because they beat them head to head. So, or no, hold on. What is the conference record? Because the tiebreaker is the conference record. So Minnesota has a better conference record right now.
And Green Bay's schedule is super easy coming. It's
the easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah, the Bucks, Giants, Bucks, Carolina. And then 2 other cakes.
Panthers, Vikings, Bears. They could win out.
Yeah, they could win out, and that's not something I want to see. And they've been playing really good. As much as I hate to say, they've been playing really good.
Yeah.
Although the Chiefs got robbed, and I'm not a Chiefs fan, but the Chiefs got robbed in that game. 2 of those calls were unreal.
Yeah, I think what happened in that game, they called that penalty on Mahomes when he was in bounds. It shouldn't have been a penalty.
Oh,
so
great.
I think that pass interference call was to offset that blown call. But I didn't like it though. I didn't like that call at all though. All right. All right. So Lions at Chicago Sunday. Adrian, are the Lions a lock in this game?
I wouldn't say they're a lock, but they should win this game and take care of business. The Bears. The Bears coming off. I believe they come off the bye week, so Lions got to be ready to go. I think they'll focus, lock in. They normally play well in Chicago, so I think they'll get the win. It'll be a close one. I say they win 27-21.
Yeah, I agree with Adrian. I don't know if they're a lock. I mean, they obviously played. I mean, they played dicey against them the first time, but they came out with the win. Hopefully, they get better. Justin Fields, he's a mobile quarterback because they are kind of getting things clicking. But yeah, I think it's going to be another close one. Again, unfortunately, like Adrian said, I think it's going to be 20. I think it's going to be 31-27.
Yeah, the game at Ford Field, Justin Fields, 104 rushing yards. Anzalone's out right now. You got a lot of injuries on the defense. Aleem McNeil's out right now. So I want to see if the defense can do a better job of containing Justin Fields this game. So
can I just say this? Sorry, Raj. I'll finish. I'll let you go.
You said what?
I said I'll let you finish. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, that was it. That was all I had.
Oh, okay. Can they? So Isaiah Buggs needs to play this game. I don't know if he's still mad at the team since earlier in the season. He needs to play, and I need to see. And I'm sorry, I don't know if it's just because he's not ready. I don't know why he hasn't played yet. But you take Broderick Martin, you trade up to the third round to take Broderick Martin, who's a huge potential run stuffer in the middle of that D line. I don't care if he's not ready. He's probably better than anything else you got at this point. Bohanna is okay. Like, can you please just try and play him a few snaps to see how he plays? Because at this point, you need it. Like, you don't have anything. Like, you need him to play. Bring on Broderick.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or Ndamukong Suh's out there. Maybe bring Suh back.
Suh, call back. Bring him back.
Possible. It's possible.
BA said the Lions need the offensive line help in the draft. I'm sure we'll lose a few linemen in free agency. I wouldn't take one in the early rounds. I would address defense in the early rounds. Maybe I would. Yeah, I wouldn't attack the offensive line early. Even if some guys leave, you can still bring some guys in through free agency.
I mean, the only guy that I think is leaving is Vaitai. And obviously you have Glasgow, who's on a one-year deal. You can re-sign him. If they re-sign Jonah Jackson, they can always do that. And then your three pillars are locked up. Ragnow's on a contract, Decker's on contract, and Sewell has one more year, I think, on his rookie contract, right? So,
yeah,
some interior guys. They drafted Kobe Sorsdale, but he hasn't been good. But he's also a rookie and was drafted in like 6th round. He's just needs time. So take one in the later rounds. But I think defensive. I think you need another D end and another cornerback.
Absolutely. So Broderick, I was about to say. Shout out Gabe. All right, so Adrian, let's get your top 5 NFL teams, your current top 5 NFL teams.
All right, I'll make it quick this week, guys. It's been a little shakeup, but I've had the number one most of the year. That's the number one team in the league. I believe if they're fully healthy, nobody's beating them. And if they can't get a Super Bowl this year, I believe they won't ever win one. And that is the San Francisco 49ers, 9-3. Went took care of business at Philly, just straight dominated. This was a real rivalry between these two teams. They look to continue their dominance against the Seattle Seahawks this week. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles, still sitting at 10-2. Got to make up some ground, get better defensively. Added, like I talked about earlier, Shaq Leonard, formerly known as Darius Leonard. Good for that linebacker core. They play a big game this week at the Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens, coming off a bye week, 9-3. They host the Los Angeles Rams. I think Lamar Company got something to prove. We'll see how the offense is going to look with another week without Mark Andrews, his best weapon. But Zay Flowers is coming into his own. Number 4, 9-3, the Dallas Cowboys. Dax look dominant. He's playing MVP football right now. They got a big game against the Philadelphia Eagles, a Sunday night football this week. So this will probably be the most watched game of the NFL season. So it's going to be a good one. We'll see if the Eagles can the Cowboys can actually take care of business at home against a really good team. And at number 5, they're leading the AFC. But like I said, they have to win out to, in my opinion, to have home field advantage. And that is the Miami Dolphins sitting at 9-3. Have been an offensive firepower. When dominated Washington. Tyreek Hill's on a legendary trajectory to break Calvin Johnson's receiving record. He's on pace to do it. But with that being in mind, it is an extra game, so keep that in mind. And then at number 6, right on the outside looking, I have the Detroit Lions at 9-3, and at 7, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, the list. I think, but ultimately, I think I would slide the Ravens up. I know it's hard sliding the Eagles down because you had them too still, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I would slide the Ravens up just because I think they're playing better football. There's something about this Eagles team, and I've been saying it this season that just for some reason this offense doesn't look right, like 60% of the time. Jalen Hurts just doesn't look like confident throwing the ball. It seems like, I don't know why. I mean, there's games when he does. They almost lost to the Bills, who are kind of a dumpster fire at this point. And then they just got absolutely dismantled by the 49ers. So, yeah, I would just slide them down to 3. But other than that, I think it's a fine top 5. You know, I know it was hard for you to say the Cowboys in there. And it hurts for me to even say that too. So, I think it's a good list overall.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, man. The Cowboys were playing very well. I mean, honestly, right now, Dak's the MVP candidate. So, I mean, they've been lighting it up. They haven't been playing the best opponents, but they're taking care of business. They're playing very well right now. So, yeah, I agree with that list. That's exactly how I would have had it. Yeah, Miami 5, Lions 6. Yeah, that's
sir.
I agree with that. I agree with that list perfectly.
By the way, guys, before we get up out of here, Michigan State just lost to Wisconsin by 13 at home, 70-57. So that brings the record to 4-4. And then Michigan's about to tip against Indiana at home. So we'll see where that goes. My Carolina Tar Heels are sitting at 7-1 right now, pretty. They're about to play in the Garden against UConn Huskies, top 5 team. So should be a good game.
This Michigan State basketball team, I don't know what's going on.
I know.
I looked and it was like 23-3 when I looked. Or
I don't.
7.
Yeah, I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on with them. Michigan, I think they're just about what I expected them to be. But their state team has got to be probably the most disappointing team in college basketball up to this point.
Yeah, still early though. Still early though. I'm not gonna stick a fork in them just yet, but definitely been underwhelming for sure. Shout out Gabe in the building. Said great point, guys. Appreciate you, Gabe. All right. Last thing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Last thing before we get up out of here. Pistons currently on a 17-game losing streak, 2-18. They got Memphis at home tomorrow. Memphis is only a 1-point favorite in this game. So, Reid, do the Pistons end this losing streak tomorrow? Do they get it done?
As me and Adrian probably say, we're not going to watch it, and then guess what? We're going to text each other and be like, man, they can't do anything right now. We're just going to keep getting abused. We're just going to keep getting hurt. I have faith that they can do it because Bogey's fine offensively when they just played. Oh, my gosh. I got to block out every loss. Sorry. Short-term memory. But, yeah, they got some space. He almost got a triple-double, so ultimately, they just have to stop Desmond Bane, and I think if Durant is healthy and playing, I think him and Jaren Jackson are going to go at it. So it comes down to not letting Desmond Bane put up 35 points like they've done to every other superstar on the team that they've played. So, I mean, I hope they can. I want to say they can, but I don't have a whole lot of faith. This team's just not really, If they start a lineup of what they started last week with Ivy, Billion, Cade, Stu, and Duran, I don't know. It's just there's something about that lineup that didn't sit right with me. So I want to say yes, but if it says yes, my brain says no.
I'm gonna go. They don't win tomorrow. Honestly, if I'm looking at the schedule right now, Memphis tomorrow, Friday they have the Magic on the road. Then they host the Pacers, who are on fire right now with Tyrese Halliburton. And then they have a back-to-back with the Sixers, which I think they could possibly get one of those games. That's where I think they possibly end this losing streak. But like you talked about, man, I tell myself every day I'm not going to watch this team, and then I find myself just getting so angry. I don't know. I'm trying to detach myself, but it's just so hard to just – at this point, I'm just rooting for to break the record at this point, the all-time record of 28 games. So the owner has to speak at some point in time, which he probably won't. But this is just crazy right now. At this point, in 20 games in the season, you already have 18 losses. So It's gonna be a long season, fellas. We're not even. What are we? Maybe a third of the. Not even a third of the way into the season right now. So
Yeah, I think the losing streak ends tomorrow. I think they beat Memphis. Memphis is what 5-14, second worst record in the West. They're no world beaters. The team looked much better with Bogey out there on Saturday. That game against Cleveland, they're a completely different team with Bogey on the floor. Even late when they had him in late in crunch time, they took Beef Stew out the game. It was just a completely different team. So
yes, get him out of there.
yeah, so this team looks different now. I think the Bogey band back helps out a lot, and I think they end this losing streak. I got the Pistons winning tomorrow, beating the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay,
Wings 4-0. Rasmussen
Go.
scored.
let's go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm about to go check that game out now. All right, well, yeah, there it is. Good show. Anything else you guys want to add before we get up out of here?
We got a transfer. By the time we come back, we'll know more about the transfer portal next week. We'll see if the Pistons got the win streak ended. It's gonna be a quiet weekend. No college football, which is strange. We just get to focus on the Lions now until the college football play at the end of the month. But basketball is about to start heating up, so be a good week, fellas.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, good show. Sports update every Tuesday, 8:00. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.